bustling Lagos, where honking danfos and flashing billboards filled the air with chaos and life, lived a young man named Chibueze. Once full of energy, confidence, and dreams, he now stayed hidden in a dim apartment on the third floor of a quiet building in Surulere. No one truly knew what had become of him, only that he no longer posted on his photography page, and he no longer smiled when neighbors greeted him. His stomach was growing. Not the kind of growing that came from overeating or sickness. This was different, unnatural. It was round, stiff, and tight, like he was carrying something inside him. Something that wasn't supposed to be there. Doctors ran all kinds of tests. "You're not sick," they told him, confused. "But we can't explain this." The ultrasounds showed nothing. Bloodwork was clean. Yet each morning, his belly was larger and heavier. Years earlier, Chibueze was the golden boy of the neighborhood. A naturally talented photographer who started by taking pictures with his old Android phone. People joked that he could make dust look like gold. By the time he turned 19, his Instagram was booming, his work was featured in city exhibitions, and he was offering free workshops to underprivileged teens. But what many didn't know was that his cousin, Obinna, had once been his best friend. They grew up like brothers, born just months apart and raised in the same compound. They wore matching uniforms, studied late into the night together, and promised they'd both become doctors someday. When university admission came, only Obinna's name was called during the street celebration. Obinna danced with joy, while Chibueze stood quietly in the crowd, clapping with a fake smile and a heavy heart. What Chibueze didn't know was that Obinna's mother had paid a bribe to remove his name from the admission list. "My son has waited long enough. That boy is always shining. Let him rest." Obinna left for university in Ibadan. Chibueze stayed back in Lagos and turned his disappointment into something new. He picked up a camera. He turned pain into purpose. Years later, Obinna invited Chibueze to visit him at school. Chibueze arrived wearing a plain t-shirt and sneakers, camera around his neck. His aura was calm, his confidence quiet. But people noticed. One girl in particular, Edeora, walked up to him and smiled. "You're the guy who takes pictures that make people look like movie stars." Chibueze laughed shyly. They connected instantly. That evening, as the sun dipped behind the halls, they shared soft conversations and numbers. But from the balcony, Obinna watched them, jaw tight and heart pounding. That night, he whispered to Edeora, "Be careful with him. He acts sweet, but he's not who he says he is." From then on, her texts slowed. Her replies were cold. Chibueze noticed but said nothing. When Obinna finally graduated, the world outside school was harsh. There were no jobs, no offers, no fairy tale. He returned home frustrated and bitter, only to find Chibueze had opened a creative studio in Lekki and was now being invited to shoot celebrity weddings. One evening, Chibueze invited him over and said, "Come join me. You're my brother. Let's build this together." Obinna smiled and agreed, but inside, a storm was already raging. His mother's voice haunted him again. "That boy is too loved. He always gets everything." The next weekend, Obinna traveled back to their hometown in Imo State and found a native priest known as Dibia Nwa Oka. The man lived deep in the forest, surrounded by red cloths, bones, and bottles filled with dark liquid. Obinna fell to his knees and begged, "I want Chibueze's life to collapse. I want what he has." The old man gave him a black sachet. "Place this under his bed," he said, "and his body will turn against him. He will carry a burden not his own. But beware, if his destiny is protected, the curse will return." Obinna nodded. He didn't believe in consequences anymore. That night, while Chibueze slept, Obinna crept into his room and slipped a charm under his bed. Weeks passed. Chibueze started feeling bloated. Then the pain started. He visited multiple hospitals. No one could explain what was wrong. His belly grew until he could barely bend over. Clients stopped coming. His neighbors gossiped. Some said it was a spiritual pregnancy. Some said he was cursed. Some said it was karma. One rainy day, Chibueze collapsed on the street while walking to get medicine. People rushed to help, but it was an old beggar woman with milky white eyes who knelt beside him and whispered, "You are carrying what was never yours." Chibueze gasped, "Who are you?" "I am the voice of justice. The spirit of mercy. You are chosen, and the curse is returning to its sender." She placed her hand on his forehead and chanted in a language lost to time. Chibueze screamed and passed out. That same night, Obina's stomach began to grow. At first, he laughed it off. Maybe beans. But by morning, he was doubled over in pain, his belly swollen like a balloon. He cried. He screamed. Nothing helped. His mother panicked and dragged him from prophet to prophet, Babalawo to herbalist. No cure worked. One old man finally examined him and said, "You planted what was not yours. Now it grows in you. Until you confess to the one you wronged, this torment will not leave." Obina broke down in tears. Shaking and trembling, he called Chibueze. "Please, meet me." They met in a small, quiet church. Obina dropped to his knees. "It was me. I stopped your admission. I poisoned your name. I cursed you. I was jealous. I'm sorry." Chibueze stood still for a long moment, his chest rising with slow breaths. Then, he walked forward, raised Obina to his feet, and embraced him. "I forgive you," he said quietly. "But never forget, what's yours will always find you. What's not, will destroy you." That night, Obina's stomach deflated. His body returned to normal. Months passed. Chibueze returned to his photography stronger than ever. His story inspired millions online. He started a mentorship program for boys who had been overlooked. Obina, humbled, joined him, truly this time. Edeora and Chibueze reconnected. This time, without lies between them. Their love, tested by fire, began anew. And in the noisy streets of Lagos, among bus horns and Instagram posts, people still whisper the story of the boy whose stomach grew every day. Because jealousy tried to rewrite destiny. But destiny doesn't listen to envy. It only obeys purpose. Moral lesson asterisk. No charm, lie, or betrayal can cancel what God has written. Jealousy is loud, but truth always echoes louder.